initiated.
Systems on.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tactical Advance here, and welcome to a flight test video today. Now, a couple of days ago, actually, probably about 3 or 4 days ago, I did a sort of a tour around the Freelancer, the new version, and today we're going to take it for a bit of a flight and look at some of them things that we couldn't actually look at inside the hangar. So, first of all, we're going to take a look at some of the weapon animations. I know that these are not the completed ones, but it's definitely worth taking a look at these weapons from the outside as well, because whatever ship they do go on, they do look pretty incredible. Let's take a look at the weapon animations. I'm making an assumption here that there's going to be recoil on these guns, because they're firing a projectile, and you see when we get outside and take a look, but you can actually see the shells coming out. Crazy detail for them to even do that. And you can actually see a sort of a little bit of a drum on the outside. I'll jump outside and we'll take a look. One sec. So here we are, guys. I mean, these look pretty incredible. You can actually see the drum there. If you look at that drum, that's obviously where all the ammunition is actually stored. And obviously when it's landed, it obviously replaces that out, and that's actually how it's reloaded. But the detail on it is absolutely incredible. I'm assuming that pin there, pull that down and then it releases that, maybe, possibly. These are made by Tactical Systems, these ones. Looks like actually the bottom section actually comes off as well. Look, you can actually see there's a little clip there. Immense amount of detail. It'd be really cool to see this when it's actually firing. You can actually see on the back there, see that little, between the two guns, a sort of a rod. It's mounted on that, and it's sort of sprung loaded on the rod. It's almost like when it fires, the two guns should sort of jump back a little bit. So we can probably expect to see that animation, and that'll put into place later on. Now the other thing we can actually take a look at, we couldn't look at last time, I did try and get in here as well. We can have a look at the top hatch. I did actually try and get in here last time. You can see there's actually going to be a button. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work. I mean, is this just going to be for docking, so you can only dock on it? And the reason I say that is because if we go around the rear, now obviously that's inside the ship, so gravity is going to be a bit of a problem. We'll pop down here. Now you could argue here, right? The door's open, but you're gonna notice something when I get inside. There's gravity. Now I'm making an assumption that there's going to be a gravity generator and some sort of shield in the same way that they're doing with the stations. Let's shut the door up. We can actually jump in this top gun as well and have a look now, see what we can actually see. Now last time in the video I noticed some sort of weird hump on it. A few people saying that it's a shield for the front gunner, protect the center hull, few things really, and this lump here. Let's just turn up my sensitivity a little bit so we can move these guns a little bit faster. There we go. It's actually pretty good. You can go as far, I mean, I don't know if you can see that. See that sort of line above my head? That's the sort of maximum height you can go to. But I actually was quite pleased with this. I think this is a pretty decent, isn't it, guys? I mean, obviously if you're looking on the very flank there, don't worry about these guns sitting next to me. I know it does look a bit odd. So you're not going to be able to shoot down that way. Well, you can shoot over that way a little bit. But saying that, as long as the pilot is pulling up, then it's not such an issue, is it? It's just going to be a little bit different. I suppose the blind spot is going to be from underneath, isn't it? Pretty good. Pretty impressed by that. I was good enough viewing angle. Once they add all the mechanics in place to track targets, it'll be a lot easier as well. Okay, right, we're back in the seat now, and we can actually see the heads-up display, because we couldn't actually see it in the hangar before. Just point somewhere where it's a little bit darker. Now you can actually see that we've got... I was actually trying to work out when I saw it in the hangar how these HUDs and displays were actually going to work. But you can actually see that this little panel here projects a screen up, so you see what I mean? So look, this one's projecting one up. Bit annoying when I click on that, I know. Just to put up with that, guys. You can actually flick through these now and manage them like that. It needs a little bit of work, I think, but I see how that's going to work. It's a pretty cool idea, isn't it? Because, I mean, that one's going to be fine there in the centre. And I suppose the co-pilot next to here would be able to see that same screen. It works well. I think it actually works quite well. Actually, I was quite surprised how well it does work, actually. But yeah, I was pretty pleased with that. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to jump into some Vandal Swarm and then see... I mean, I understand that this is a space trucker with guns, but at the same time, we're playing Star Citizen and we're going to have to shoot a ship at some point, or there's a possibility that someone's going to try and interdict you and attack you, possibly board you and take your cargo. Having guns and having the ability to defend yourself is important. It's a deterrent and it's a part of the game. So let's see how we get on anyway. So I'm just going to load up. Back in a sec, guys.
Systems on.
So here we are in some Vandal swarm. Now, the first observation I made when I flew this ship for the first time, I did notice that it's got quite a bit of slide when you're actually turning. So when you actually turn, you'll see that there's another sort of round circle that comes into view after a turn. It's sort of expected for a larger ship. Just makes it a little bit tricky when you're trying to avoid obstacles like rocks, particularly in Vandal Swarm. I must admit I've hit a couple of rocks a few times. It can be slightly difficult. That's one of the challenges which comes with a bigger ship, I guess. The viewing angle is actually not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I would say that you definitely want to keep this ship at range, over 1,000 at least. And you want to 100% avoid getting into a close quarters dogfight with another ship, because it's only going to end up bad for you, basically. The main guns do deplete ammo. It'd be nice to see later on if you could EVA outside the ship and reload the weapons. The main guns are really hard hitting. If a small ship attacks you, he better know what he's doing, because these guns can wipe it out in one shot. Sometimes it takes 3, all depending on the actual ship. I actually found the shields to be quite good, actually. The shields actually, they can take quite a beating. The recharge rate is a little bit slow, but saying that, you can pretty much deplete shields without taking any physical hull armor. I'm 100% certain that this is going to have a buff later on anyway, because it does perform slightly different in the PU than it does in Vandal Swarm. Now, the last thing on the agenda is missile lock. Now, missile lock is, because they are bigger missiles, it does take quite a long time to actually lock their missiles. It can be really, really challenging to get a lock on a target. I found that you sort of want to start the lock at about 3,000, and it's very, very tricky. But the good news, guys, you can always rely on them guns, because they are awesome. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video today. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye now.